Let me start with a hard truth that most people don't want to hear. Most people don't die suddenly. They decline slowly, quietly, almost politely. They lose strength, they lose balance, they lose confidence in their own bodies. And by the time they realize what's happening, they've already handed over their independence without a fight. Here's another uncomfortable fact that nobody likes to talk about. The last 4 to 5 years of most people's lives are not spent traveling. They're not spent enjoying retirement. They're not spent doing all the things they told themselves they would finally have time for. They're spent managing limitations, doctor visits, medications, assistive devices, chairs, walkers, beds. That is not bad luck. That is the predictable outcome of neglect. So today, I want to talk about something practical, something honest, something that actually matters. Not abs, not beach bodies, not six-pack, nonsense, not trendy workouts designed for social media. I want to talk about minimum strength and mobility standards for people over 50, especially people in their 50s and 60s. Not elite performance, not athletic excellence, minimums. Because minimums are what keep you independent. And that's important. That's the bottom line. If you don't measure this stuff honestly, you're guessing. And guessing is how people lose decades of quality life. When you're young, your body covers up mistakes. You can get away with weakness. You can get away with poor balance. You can get away with inactivity. You can get away with eating lots of crap. After 50, that bill comes due. Muscle loss accelerates. Reaction time slows. Bone density declines. Connective tissue stiffens. And your margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. Falls become dangerous. Simple tasks become exhausting. Confidence in movement starts to fade. So what we're going to do today is walk through a set of simple, real-world assessments. No machines, no lab tests, no gimmicks. Just honest tests that answer one brutal question. If nothing changes, will your body still work for you in 20 years? The first test is grip strength, and it might be the most underrated health marker there is. Grip strength correlates with overall muscle mass. It reflects nervous system health. It predicts fall risk. It even correlates with mortality. This isn't gym folklore. This comes from large population studies. Here's the test. Grab a pull-up bar, a beam, or anything solid overhead and hang. Just hang. If you're between 50 and 59 years old, you should be able to hang for at least 45 seconds. If you're in your 60s, 30 seconds. In your 70s, 20 seconds is a reasonable minimum. If you can't hang at all, that is not normal aging. That is a warning flare. Grip strength affects everything. Carrying groceries, opening jars, holding railings, catching yourself when you stumble. When grip goes, confidence goes. And when confidence goes, movement shrinks. Okay, so the second test is single leg balance. Falls are the leading cause of serious injury in older adults. And most falls don't happen doing anything dramatic. They happen while putting on shoes, stepping off a curb, turning too fast, walking in low light. Stand barefoot if possible. Hands on your hips. Lift one foot off the ground. No touching the raised foot to the standing leg. No hopping, no leaning. If you're in your 50s, you should be able to hold this for 30 seconds per side. In your 60s, 20 seconds. In your 70s, 10 to 15 seconds. If this feels hard, that's not bad news. That's early information. Balance isn't about flexibility. It's about nervous system coordination. And coordination fades fast if you don't challenge it. Okay, so the third test is the sit to stand test. Sit on a standard chair. Cross your arms across your chest. Stand up. Sit back down. Repeat. Count how many clean repetitions you can do in 30 seconds. In your 50s, 15 reps is the minimum. In your 60s, 12. In your 70s, 8 to 10. If you need to use your hands, take note. That's not shame, that's data. This single movement determines whether you can get off a toilet, stand up from a couch, exit a car, recover from a stumble. When leg strength fades, life contracts fast. The fourth test is carry capacity. This is real-world strength. Grab dumbbells, kettlebells, or grocery bags. Men should aim to carry roughly 50% of their body weight total. Women, about 40%. Now walk 100 feet. No stopping, no leaning, no setting the weight down. If you can't do this, you're already outsourcing basic life tasks. Carrying strength determines independence. Groceries, luggage, yard work, emergencies. Weak carries create cautious living. The fifth test is the floor transition. Sit down on the floor. Now stand back up. No hands, no knees. If you struggle, pay attention, because if you can't get up from the floor now, how will you do it after a fall? When you're tired, when you're shaken, when you're injured. This single test predicts long-term independence better than most gym metrics ever will. The sixth test is walking capacity. This isn't about running marathons. It's about locomotion. You should be able to walk 1 mile in 20 minutes or less without pain, without gasping, without joint discomfort. If walking feels exhausting, everything else becomes harder. Walking is the base layer of independence. Here's where most people fail. They wait. They wait until they feel old, until things hurt, until movement feels risky. By then, muscle loss is advanced. Balance is compromised. Confidence is gone. Rebuilding becomes harder, slower, and more frustrating. Strength is insurance. Mobility is freedom. And both must be earned before you need them. You don't need fancy gyms. You don't need extreme workouts. You don't need perfection. You need honesty, consistency, and respect for aging. Ask yourself this honestly. If nothing changes, will your body still work for you in 20 years? If that question makes you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort is information. Train for usefulness. Train for independence. Train so your body serves you, not the other way around. Because independence is the ultimate luxury. And once you lose it, getting it back is very hard. What I want you to understand is that none of these tests are about being impressive. They're about being capable. There is a massive difference. Impressive fades fast. Capability compounds. A person who can still carry their own groceries at 70 is not lucky. They're prepared. A person who can still get off the floor at 80 is not gifted. They trained for it, whether intentionally or by habit. And this is where most people make a critical mistake. They treat aging as something that just happens to them, instead of something they actively participate in. They assume weakness is inevitable. They assume stiffness is normal. They assume pain is just part of getting older. It's not. What's normal is disuse. The body adapts to what you demand of it. If you demand nothing, it gives you nothing. If you don't ask your muscles to work, they shrink. If you don't challenge balance, it disappears. If you don't move joints through range, stiffness sets in. That's not aging. That's biology doing exactly what it's designed to do. And here's the part nobody likes to hear. Once you lose certain abilities, rebuilding them is exponentially harder. It's much easier to maintain strength than to regain it. It's much easier to keep balance than to relearn it after a fall. It's much easier to preserve confidence than to rebuild it after injury. This is why minimum standards matter. They give you a line in the sand. They tell you very clearly whether you're maintaining your body or slowly abandoning it. You don't need to win every test. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to know where you stand because awareness is the first step to control. If you pass these tests, your job is to keep passing them. If you fail some of them, your job is not to panic, it's to train intelligently. And that training doesn't have to be extreme. It has to be consistent. Strength training 2 or 3 times a week, walking regularly, practicing balance, carrying weight, getting comfortable supporting your own body again. This is not about extending lifespan at all costs. It's about extending health span. Years where you can move freely. Years where you can travel without fear. Years where you don't need help for basic tasks because the goal isn't just to live longer. The goal is to live capable for as long as possible. And that starts by being honest with yourself today. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and leave some comments below. I promise to answer them. Thank you so much.